episode of Let Me Just Say This podcast. Today is just me, your other host Ben, and Colton here today.
What's up?
It's going to be a much lighthearted, chill vibe podcast episode today with us three.
Without that wild tater here, it sure is.
Oh, yeah.
So what did you want to bring up today, Ben?
We got a couple things we can discuss. This will be a short little segment, but I do want to bring up people. We're going to touch on some traffic again here.
Call back.
Colton wasn't here for that one, so he's got his 2 cents.
Yeah.
Much more.
Ben basically summed it all up for me. Like, I have a lot of the same opinions, but
yeah.
Much more seasoned veteran here as well.
When you're sitting behind someone at a traffic light and the light turns green and they proceed to just sit there like it didn't.
Yeah.
And I know most of the time they're not paying attention or they're looking at something else and don't really care what the reason is.
Yeah.
I just would like you to go.
Yeah.
Because I have somewhere to be. You might not have anywhere to be, but you kind of need to be paying attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, I think I gave you this example one night, but when I was like driving on the road, it was like late at night, and I was at a red light, and it was like a turn right, so I could like turn right, and I was on the phone with someone, so I didn't want to like obviously drive while talking on the phone, and someone was behind me, and they started honking at me like just one quick little tap, but I still like turned around and looked at him, and I was like, you do know like I'm on the phone, like even if you can't see it, it's also a red light, like why are you in such a big rush this late at night, you know?
Yeah, but if you can turn on red and there's nothing coming, you on the phone shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But I just
that's your problem, not the person behind you.
That's my problem, but it's still like one of those things where it's like
you're one of those, Christian.
I'm at least trying to be safe.
You're one of the culprits.
Yeah, but it wasn't a green light.
Well, it turns green at some point.
Yeah, but it had just turned red though.
Can't always base it off that.
Stop picking on me.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. I mean, I am guilty of it every once in a while, but it's usually when I either don't know where I am or someone's texting me that's somewhere.
If I'm somewhere unfamiliar, and I'm trying to find my way and make sure I know where I'm going, I can see, I can tell people are getting frustrated with me because I'm slowing down at every street and trying to find a certain street, and then they're behind me going, "Oh, come on," and I'm like, "Well, deal with it," I'm working on it. At least I'm still moving.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to make sure too before you flip out too much. Make sure it's not some 95-year-old woman or guy driving that's
can't see.
Yeah, they're just, their reaction time just a lot slower.
Yeah.
And I also, on the other side of it, I also think that you don't need to you don't need to time it like you're at a drag strip, to where as soon as the light's green, you're flooring it. You can just,
Well, there was a.
Just show some sign of life when the light turns green.
Yeah.
Just let off the brake and the car will start rolling. At least then we know, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the extreme of just sitting there.
Oh, and then as soon as it turns green, you just speed off.
And you floor it.
Yeah.
Which is also what we talked about, is when you pass someone and they take it personal, like you have offended their family,
exactly.
their family name, and they floor it to get back by you.
I just don't get that.
And I'm like, the way I feel about it is like, you win.
Like I've never had that happen to me before, but I've been like in the car and I've seen it happen. I'm like, what was that guy's problem?
Yeah, you win the race that you thought we were having, because I had no idea. I was just driving.
I really hate it too when it's not even like a 2-lane road, but it's just a passing zone and I speed up. It's like, what do you want me to do? Because I can't stay in this left lane. It's like, do you want me to just go back behind you? Because that's what's going to happen. And it's like, that's just going to cause an accident at some point. It is. I mean,
yeah.
He laughed at the word accident.
It's a funny word.
Oh.
No, it's not.
You just think of like people soiling themselves.
Okay, that's a little more childish, I guess. It's a little more lighthearted than what I thought.
Maybe when someone thinks it's just something, like they think it's just gas, and that's when they find out it's not just gas. That's kind of funny. That worried look on their face.
Oh,
Never trust a fart.
Exactly. It's like,
well, like after, like you said, after a certain age, you just start to worry because it's like you can't control it
you go through
anymore.
a couple days of. It's like, man, I'm gonna have to go sit down for this in the bathroom because I don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah. Like I always ever worry about it when I've had like a really terrible fever and like my stomach's been killing me all day and I just can't like get out of bed and stuff like that.
Well, you can, like when you hear your stomach churning.
Well, you can feel it like all throughout.
Like it's loud.
Yeah, you feel it all throughout your body, and it's just like
this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't
This
know when
might
it's gonna
actually
happen.
hurt.
Yeah. You don't know when it's going to happen,
See,
but it's going to come at some point.
It warns you. It's
Yeah.
like, listen, sometime down the road, you're going to have a problem.
yeah. See, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know because I haven't had it a bunch of times. But like the whole hurting idea, I would have just thought it's like instantaneous, and it's like you don't feel it till afterwards, like the aftermath. Like you're
Well,
like,
I don't know how graphic we want to get on this, but the part that starts to hurt is, number one, you can have cramping.
yeah, oh well, that's
internal, which that's
I never-
self-explanatory. That's what kind of hurts.
yeah.
But
yeah,
the
go on.
but then the fact that you like when you have like food poison or something and you go so many times, the sensitive area becomes extremely raw.
Oh, yeah.
Your rear.
You need
Yeah,
wet
and then
wipes at
it's
some
like,
point.
and then it's just like burns like fire.
Yeah. If anything, it feels like more like a sense of relief for me. Like I just took a weight off my entire body.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I feel like I need to go rest afterwards, but at least like I made it to the restroom in time.
It's a quick way to. I mean, it's a quick way to drop 2 pounds. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. But see, I've never had them that big though.
It's not that big. I'm talking
Uh.
when you've had food poisoning and
Oh.
it's like pouring out a
Yeah,
bottle of water.
You're the only one I've known who's had really bad food poisoning.
I've had it a couple times. It's probably, I would say it's probably the most unpleasant thing I've dealt with.
Well, I've heard it's kind of almost like you think you're gonna die at a
Yeah,
certain
like I
point.
hate having a headache. I hate having a sore throat and a cough. But compared to the food poisoning,
You can at least like stand up after those, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Colton?
anyways,
You ever had food poisoning, my friend?
Oh yeah, I got one after I came back from Mexico, but that was a little different. I didn't feel like it was.
oh yeah, you're the only person I've known to go to Mexico that besides my family.
I've been a few times actually, but only in Cancun. I'm not sure if that counts as
Yeah.
like.
That's
It's
more,
a more
tourist.
tourist. Yeah.
There's Mexico, then there's Cancun, Mexico.
Yeah.
Then there's American Mexico.
Yeah, I mean, but for context, I was staying at a Hard Rock hotel,
Yeah.
so it's like I'm not getting the the cultural experience at all. It's more all tourized and Americanized. And
But was
everything
like
that.
the food poison terrible?
It was weird because it wasn't a lot. Like I was going every hour or whatnot, but it was just whenever I had to go through the day, it was bad.
Were you able to establish what caused it?
No, I have no idea. It's one of the things I ate in
The
that
one,
trip, though.
the first time I got it, it was from an oyster.
Yeah,
and-
those are rough.
And it, when I had the first symptom, it instantly hit me. I'm like, I knew for sure. I was like, had to be the oysters
Oh yeah.
because
Definitely.
they were grilled,
Mm.
so they were kind of steamed in the shell. And then you can always when you taste something
Oh yeah.
and you have that little idea in the back of your head, like that doesn't seem as hot
Yeah.
or as cold as it should have been.
Or like if it has a weird like taste to it.
It's this
Like I've had these before, but this tastes different.
like that oyster literally tasted room temperature.
Yeah.
I'm
Yikes.
like,
Or it's like a hot or it's like a hot pocket where it's like hot on one end and then it's cold in the center.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And
it
it's
burns your lips, but then in
Yeah.
the middle you chip your tooth on the frozen pepperoni.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that's the magic of microwaves right there, ladies and gentlemen.
and this is a life hack for you people. Just put them in the oven and they'll come out perfect all the time.
That's true, but they take longer.
But I don't
People
think
are impatient.
But it's
I
worth
say I
it.
don't think people buy hot pockets to cook them in the oven. I think they buy them for a quick microwave thing. Which I mean, if you got time, yeah, let's throw it in the oven because
Yeah.
it will be a better product.
I mean, I
Yeah.
usually just nuke it like a minute over where it's supposed to be in a microwave, and it just explodes a little
I've
bit.
never
but at least
understood-
it's cooked.
I never understood that term of people when they microwave things. They call it nuking it.
Because I mean, it involves radioactive waves, right?
I mean, yeah, it's radio waves or whatever.
You just answered your own question. There.
Then
That's why they call it that.
yeah, because you're literally just
Dun,
overdoing
dun,
it.
dun.
Well, if you want to get really scientific, Colin, all you're doing is just speeding up the molecules inside of it,
Okay.
which is quote unquote heating it up.
Yeah,
But you're just
Whoa,
making
but
it.
that's
whoa,
that's
whoa.
how heat works, though.
Yeah.
Particles get excited and they move
Yeah.
faster. I go to college.
Okay.
I
Well,
like, and I just really liked paying attention in science class.
you two can battle this one out.
I would say though, with the whole like we were going back to the food poisoning thing. I've never had food poisoning, but my assumption was it always felt again like having a fever because I've only had 2 instances where I was like really sick, and one of them was when I had gotten my wisdom teeth out. And again, because you can't eat solid foods and you can't really eat most stuff, and you're just constantly in pain and taking medication, like it really beat up my stomach really bad. And I wasn't in like pain, but I just knew like my stomach just felt weird. And one day, like one morning, I woke up. My other siblings are like at school, so I'm like home alone. And one of my sisters was there too. And I went to the bathroom and did my business. And then when I walk out, a few minutes later, I hear her yell like at the end of the hall, like, "Good God, what happened in here?" I'm like, I'd happened. And she was talking to, I think, my mom. And she was like, "I think Christian was in here and blew up the bathroom." And my mom was like, "Oh, well, he's sick because of the whole wisdom teeth operation." And I was like, "Well, yeah."
Did they give you any antibiotics and stuff?
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
So that's probably what disagreed with you.
Yeah, the antibiotics and also like the pain medication.
Yeah, I mean,
and also just eating like yogurt and like ramen noodles.
I only had one wisdom tooth pulled out, so I guess I was never really smart to begin with.
I was honestly happy when they told me they were gonna get all 4 out, because I was like, well,
at least
that's
you
a
don't have to
relief.
do more, like do it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say that's best if you're gonna get them pulled, get them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awful, but
Because
it's worth it.
Because they say like the older you get, the longer it takes to heal. Whereas like when you're really young, obviously your body's just constantly healing itself.
Yours was just recent, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
Last
Remember you came to
spring.
work, it was still like what, 4 days later,
Yeah, it was just.
and you still had a puffy face.
Oh,
Yeah, you still looked miserable.
Well, I was okay. It was just, I just never realized how much I missed food after that, because you just drink soup all the time, because that's all I had here.
It's like you're forced on a diet.
Yeah, and it's just like, I remember, I think by like my 5th or 6th day, I took my sister to Cracker Barrel, because I was like, I just need to eat mac and cheese or just noodles, or I just need to eat food, because I am just, paying all the time because I'm just drinking so much, basically. And I'm not getting any.
Some solid food has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just can't get some of the nutrients like out of normal foods,
Oh yeah.
And it's just like a real pain in the butt.
Tomato soup just doesn't cut it after a while. Your body just doesn't agree with it.
I guess I was just like a weak-willed child too, but I always hear about like people's other stories of wisdom teeth removal and how they're like, well, I felt horrible, but like after a day or two, I got up and like went on my day. I'm like, I stayed in bed for like 2 to 3 days in pain.
Mine wasn't to the extent. Mine wasn't fully in. Like the ones that hurt the most was on my lower jaw, because they were halfway in already, and those hurt the most. But I heard the longer you wait, the more it hurts.
Did they put you guys under all the way to do it?
Yeah, I was completely put under.
I was close. They call it twilight sedation. They put a gas in my mouth. Apparently, I was conscious. I was talking to them. I don't remember a thing.
Oh, so
I remember them
like
sort of drilling one tooth, and all of a sudden I was done.
So it was kind of like you were blacked
weird.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was, they gave me a local, and then they came back in and checked on me, gave me something else, but I remember it happening. And I think the worst part about it is I didn't feel a thing. That was the best part.
Oh yeah.
But I heard my tooth ripping out of my mouth. And I thought, even at the time, I was thinking, I don't like how that sounds.
Yeah.
I bet that hurts right now.
Yeah.
And then they actually, when they pulled the one tooth, the bottom of the root broke off.
What?
So he had to go in with the little drill and stuff and get that little piece out of there, which thankfully I didn't feel it. But
yeah.
I was just, then of course they show you the tooth afterwards.
They didn't show me the tooth.
Oh, they showed me mine.
Oh.
I was amazed by.
I didn't see mine.
It's amazing how deep.
Oh yeah.
And like long the root was. I'm like, you hit your tooth on the out. You see your tooth in the mouth. It's like that big, but that thing was like that long.
Well, it's like
embedded into your jaw.
Beforehand, they sometimes show you the X-ray, and it's like, well, this is how big it is, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this and all that. They show you like how the operation is gonna go, and they talk about like how much they're gonna take out and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, as long as you put me under, I'll be fine. And I liked after the operation too, like the place I went to, they wheel you out in a wheelchair to your car or whoever's taking you home. I was like, I feel great, like just riding a wheelchair. I was like, oh, I gotta get off this now? No fair.
When my wife had her wisdom teeth removed, me and a nurse literally had to drag her by her arms. Her feet were dragging on the sidewalk. We drug her to the car. I mean, it messed her up pretty bad.
I might show you guys if I can find it, but after my operation, my sister recorded me, and I was out of it. Like I don't know, I don't remember anything I said or what when I got home or what I said, but it's pretty funny.
See,
but
thing is for mine, like I regained so much consciousness after they pulled me out of the room. Like I remember sitting in a chair afterwards, like after they were pulling me out.
And I asked one of them to record me too because I wanted to get a good laugh out of
what
it.
happened.
Yeah, I wanted to know in case I did or said anything. Like
I would regret later.
Yeah, like I revealed some skeletons in my closet that I wanted to keep secret.
You just walked up and down the dentist office hallways telling out your like passwords and codes for ATM cards and
deepest darkest secret.
Yeah, things I've kept hidden since childhood.
Did I hear somebody say ramen noodles a minute ago?
Oh, that was me.
I had to eat a lot of that too.
Yeah.
You can't beat those things.
Oh yeah, they're good.
There's this
they're
one
college food.
There's this one food challenge on YouTube of these people eating these certain spicy ramen noodles from like South Korea or something.
Huh.
And like you can buy them on Amazon, like a 10 to 20 pack, and they have like a mild, I guess it's mild, but it's like hot, and then there's a super like volcanic hot one, and everyone's eating those.
Or how much for 10 to 20 packs online?
I'd have to look it up, but
you can go to like your local warehouse store and get like a pallet for $5.
Yeah, but these ones
that's like
you can't get here, obviously.
That's like 50 cases of ramen noodles, so that's like 12 per case.
Yeah,
all
but
for $5.
But that's the thing with like YouTube food challenges is like people eat something you can't normally get. But then I looked on Amazon, I was like, well, they're clearly selling it easily on there. You can get them in a day, so like they would be here the next day. But one of the guys I saw doing it, I forget his name, Joey or something. He ate like 10 packs of them, and like the one single pack is like more than your average ramen pack, like twice as much.
More.
And
yes.
he ate like a whole 10 pack. The dude was like coughing and constantly saying like I'm gonna throw up, but he finished it all, and I was like good on him, but now he's gonna like feel terrible afterwards when that goes through him.
So that's a good topic actually. Is have you guys done any food challenges?
I've only done one.
And what was yours?
Cinnamon challenge, and that's because I was a kid. And
how'd that work out for you?
Oh, it's terrible.
I'm sure.
I was coughing up a storm.
Yeah, that's.
And
what's
again,
that? That's like a teaspoon or
a spoonful.
A spoonful of cinnamon, straight cinnamon.
Straight cinnamon. And it's like they say don't drink water because that makes it worse, and they were right.
Did it really?
Yeah. It's like it cakes your mouth at that point, you know? Like now you can't like. It's almost like you're suffocating yourself on purpose. It's just the worst. And they say it's dangerous to even inhale like any dust at all, like cinnamon.
Yeah.
Because it'll like go into your lungs.
Yeah.
And it could kill you.
Because it is. I mean, it does have a spice to it, and it's got a little heat to it.
But I was like, of course, as a child, you don't know that, so you're just like, oh, I'll do it. I saw it on YouTube.
That's the best place to get ideas to do things.
It's like my favorite YouTuber did it, so I'll do it.
People were always doing smart things on the internet.
He got paid to do it.
I know a lot of YouTubers say that challenge trending era was always like the worst year YouTube because I hated doing those stupid videos.
Well, it was the easiest money for people, but it was also like the most dangerous because you're influencing a ton of kids.
Yeah,
and it's just like some things are easy to like okay and acceptable, like planking and stuff. But but when or like we brought up ghostwriting, that was dumb. Like that's not something you should do.
We're not supposed to bring that back up.
Yeah.
It's that dumb.
Yeah.
But and like the cinnamon one.
Colton, did you ever ghost ride your whip?
No.
Yeah, that's good. I'm proud of you.
But what were some food challenges you wanted to talk about?
Well, Colton, have you done any food challenges in your lifetime?
Not really. I went to Buffalo Wild Wings once, and my friend got like the hottest thing you could get there, but it wasn't like I had to sign a waiver or anything.
Right.
I had to help him finish it.
Well, I've done. I do know that Addison, who's not with us right now, he did a.
He can bring this up.
He did a burger challenge or something somewhere. He ate. It was like a. What did he? I want to say he. I want to say he said like 12 patties.
Yeah, I thought he said it was like 10 pounds or something.
Yeah, it was just an insane burger. Which
did it have any sides or was it just the burger?
It probably came with a side of fries, but.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. I don't even think he got anything for it. I think he get like a T-shirt.
No, he said you get a shirt.
Yeah, he wore the shirt to work before.
Really?
And I seen the shirt, and I said, "Did you get that by doing that challenge?" He's like, "Yeah." But on the shirt, it's got this picture of this burger. It's like a foot tall almost. I'm like, "Good Lord!"
And I mean, he's a really small statured guy, so you wouldn't expect him to like finish it anyways.
Yeah, but we fed him many times at work as far as employee meal.
But again, you would be surprised at how much he can put down.
Yeah, and you see what he orders for lunch. It's like maybe he could do this burger challenge because
I think he said he got pretty far or not far.
I was about to ask if you need to complete the challenge in order to get the shirt, but I guess
No,
not.
I think it's like a participation award.
I don't think it was one of those, if you do it, you get it free, or
No,
you're paying for it no matter what.
Yeah,
Okay.
the policy is if you can finish it, you don't have to pay for it.
Oh.
Because it's like $70 for the meal.
Yeah.
But I'm like, even then, I still want like an actual prize, you know?
Yeah. Just to say you did it, you could probably get a picture
Yeah.
on the wall or something.
I think, maybe they have like a picture on the wall thing or not. He didn't say.
I got a couple of challenges I did, but
Yeah,
you
because
go
he
ahead.
said I was just finishing with, he said he doesn't remember the place at all, or I think so, but he doesn't remember much. He just knows that he did it. I'm like, did you like go into a food coma afterwards?
I
Like,
guarantee there was a nap soon after that at some point,
Oh, yeah.
because your body, your body can't handle that. Like just, let me just let me just pound 10 pounds of ground beef and let's go play some basketball now and run around and stuff. But I've told y'all before, I've done the milk challenge.
oh yeah, that sounded horrible.
That,
if you want to explain what it is.
I don't remember this.
You don't? I haven't told you?
Yeah,
Oh,
tell
well,
the
good.
story.
I actually did it twice. It was when I worked at the place I worked before, where I am now with y'all.
And one of your other buddies was.
We had a couple other people did it with us. It was Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
oddly enough, and we
was
were
it,
at work.
Was it you, 2 guys, and like 1 girl that did
Yeah,
it?
and
Yeah.
I knew that her name, we'll call her Bella. She wasn't going to do it because she started pouring it into a glass and sipping it. And the thing is, you got to do a gallon in an hour.
Really?
Yeah, and
No,
it's
it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter what way you do it, just as long as you get it all down.
yeah. I mean, you can approach it. The way I approached it was I paced myself. So if you break it down into quarters, there, like in 15 minutes, I need at least a quarter of that milk gone. And so the one friend of mine who did it, and our boss actually did it too. He pretty much chugged about half a gallon, then he lost. And by that he threw up. Bella never even got close to finish, and she's like, I can't do this. I'm like, yeah, okay. Me and my other friend who did it,
How
he
close?
got
How close did he get?
he got really close. But what happened with his time, he got down, he had probably a third of a gallon left.
Ooh.
And he probably only had like 3 minutes left to finish in an hour. So now keep in mind, he's already had 2/3 of a gallon of milk in the past hour. So he spends his last 3 minutes trying to chug
Oh,
that last third gallon. He literally, we had to go outside
that sounds painful.
because he literally, as he's trying to chug, started to throw. He went right to the trash can outside. So at that point, I was the only one left. I still had 15 minutes.
So you won by like default because everyone else gave up.
I didn't win by default.
Okay.
I still had to finish my gallon, and we decided to keep it down for 5 minutes after you finish, and then you can do whatever.
See that's a little too much. I would say 1 minute should be enough.
So I paced myself, and I got the whole gallon in with like 2 minutes to spare. I calmly walk outside. I sat down on the bench outside, just leaned against the wall.
Rethinking
I
your
just
life.
sat back and closed my eyes and kindly just waited for them to count, to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
The best part about this is I never threw up. When we left work, I ended up going to Cracker Barrel, meeting my family for Thanksgiving dinner that day,
Oh.
because we had to serve Thanksgiving dinner that day.
That's terrible.
And weird enough, it was funny because I had no problem eating the dinner because all it was doing was splashing
How are you
and just
doing
soaking
that?
up it was just soaking up the milk.
Ah.
So I didn't drink my tea at all.
Yeah.
I had like a sip of tea. That was it. There was no more liquid I needed. How I felt was horrible. I'm not kidding. You feel like when you think about the worst you've ever felt as far as like stomach cramps or I'm gonna throw up,
Yeah.
you feel like that times 10, and it does not. You know how like sometimes it'll come in waves?
Yeah.
No. It's just there. You're laying there for the whole time.
Like you flatline.
So fast forward to Easter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Quite a
same
month
place I'm
away.
working. We get this crazy idea they want me to do. And I'm mad at them for ever talking me into this because this one did not go nearly as well as the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the first one went well. The first.
Yeah, because like
I considered it did because I won.
yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't blow
I
chunks.
didn't throw up. I mean, I didn't feel the best for a long time, but
yeah, you were in pain. and
compared to
miserable.
what I'm about to tell you, that was a great day.
Yeah.
So a couple of guys I worked with thought it'd be cool to see if I could earn the nickname the Neapolitan.
Okay.
What's that?
So Neapolitan ice cream is the one that's got the vanilla, chocolate, and the strawberry in the same box.
Oh.
So
Bueno.
they split up a gallon of milk, made a third strawberry, a third chocolate, a third regular.
Oh.
So I had to decide how I wanted to do this. I said, well, I'll get the.
Jeez.
I guzzled the third of regular off the bat just to get it out of the way, because the other two were going to be just taste better. And I said, well, I like strawberry more, so I'll save it for last. So they mix up the chocolate, and about 30 minutes in, I get through the chocolate.
I feel like the chocolate would have been better to get down first because it's more like a thicker flavor.
Yeah, but now here's the crazy part. This is what did me in right here. The strawberry syrup. Okay, they put in the milk, blended it up. Okay, I got it all down within the hour. Felt horrible, just like I did actually keep everything down for 5 minutes. So I did technically
win.
I don't say win.
Were there any bettings
I
or money?
achieved the goal.
Were there any bettings or money involved?
No. I should have. I should have been.
Yeah.
Well, I did. They did call me the Neapolitan for like 3 weeks after that. So it was kind of neat.
I guess that's worth it.
No, it's not. In fact, that day I told them, I said, I'm retiring from any food challenge from here on out. I'm never doing anything like this again.
This is it.
I feel like that much dairy product is just like horrible for
Well,
me.
so about 10 minutes after the time had passed that I'd held it down and everything, I had to throw up.
Now,
So
did it just come naturally, or did you force yourself to?
no, it had no problem coming out by
Alright.
itself. So I did that, but I still felt horrible. Then I realized it was going to be coming out the other end.
Ooh.
Let me tell you,
Yeah.
they had to send this guy named Joe to check on me because I was in the bathroom for so long, and no one wanted to come check on me because they said the smell was so horrible. That strawberry syrup,
So Joe was kind of like cannon fodder. You
Dude.
need to go deal with that.
that strawberry syrup went straight through me.
Oh, so like you're positive it was mostly the strawberry that messed you up,
Yeah, because
even though you wanted to save it for last.
I just think it was. I think it was just the high concentration of the syrup.
Was there more syrup in the strawberry than the chocolate?
I think so.
Okay.
And and that's why. I mean, I guess we probably should have measured that stuff
Yeah.
instead of just squeezing it in there and be like, yeah, that's enough. But I did earn the name. I will never do it again. It was not worth it.
Do they still call you that?
Since we don't work together anymore, I haven't had anybody call me that. But
Yeah.
it's
You want us to start calling you that?
no. It actually reminds me of that, and I don't like to think about how that felt because that was.
Well, at least you don't have to earn that name again, though. If you
Yeah,
want to
but
be
it
called.
was kind. I mean, it was kind of neat to do one of those challenges you see and be able to. Now, yeah, probably wasn't the healthiest thing I could have done to myself, but
Now, I've always thought, because I've always talked about this with a lot of friends, and I've always said I do want to try maybe like a spicy food challenge, because I want to say I'm not confident in myself, but I'm saying like I do enjoy more spice than an average person at least.
why do you think that is, Christian?
Because I'm Hispanic.
Ah, yes, you are.
But I've always wanted to try like maybe one of those like really spicy food challenges. Now I'm not saying like Colton here to go to some place where I have to sign a waiver
Yeah.
to eat something, but
I
like
mean, have you ever heard of? I forget what it is. It's not like the most like. It's not like the Carolina Reaper, which
Yeah.
is like made in a lab. It's like the spiciest naturally grown pepper in the world, and it's actually considered a chemical weapon because they use it in their gas grenades in like Arabia or something like that. That's how spicy it is.
That's a touch messed
so
up.
Yeah,
right
I'm
there.
pretty much eating pepper spray.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's like, when it gets to that point, it's like, no, it's not. This is not fun anymore.
Well, like they're the ones where like they'll even warn you it's like no skin contact or you'll burn, and it's like how hot is this thing
Oh yeah,
really?
people have to wear gloves, and you have to put this in your mouth. They have to wear
Well, I
gloves
think-
to pick it up.
I think they just say that because it'll get stuck in your hands, and as soon as you touch something, it's gonna burn. you
Well,
know?
it's oils.
Yeah.
Because say if you get in your eye or something, that
Well, they say
completely
any
ruins-
open pores.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't fathom why anybody would want to put something that has those kind of warnings and
I know.
safety precautions
Inside of them.
I'm like, should your food have a safety precaution?
Yeah.
Like, hey, before you eat this, make sure you blah 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 blah. Like, really?
Yeah. The only reason I feel like a little more confident in myself doing those is because, like, I mean, I eat whole jalapenos by by themselves, so it's like,
Of course you do.
yeah. So that's why I feel like maybe I have a better chance than an average person who doesn't enjoy spice. But then again, I'm also not saying I won't probably die.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can barely handle a bunch of jalapenos for like work or something. Like that gets me. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
I like things like I got like a pickling recipe that calls for a little jalapeno in it. You know, and it's just, I mean, you're talking like just a couple, you know, shaved pieces of the jalapeno just to put a little spice in there.
Yeah.
It's not like a whole jalapeno or anything, and it's really good like with pickled eggs and stuff. It gives them a little kick. But Christian, is this a good time to tell my jalapeno story?
Well, jalapenos.
From my teenage years.
Oh, if you want to.
When I worked at the supermarket.
I think you told me this one.
I think I did, yeah. I was a cashier / bag boy at
How old were you at this point?
16, and I worked on weekends, and every weekend this group of guys that would come in after they worked all week, they'd come in, and there were 5 of them. I got to know them pretty well because I saw them every weekend.
Yeah.
And they were like our friend Christian.
Yeah.
And they always talked to me, and we'd joke around and stuff. And then one day, one of them had an idea to try to get me to.
How long were you working at this place at that point?
By then it was probably only a few months I'd been there, maybe 6 months.
So would you say they got to know you pretty well?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, not like, hey, come over and hang out with me, well, but
like us.
You want to go hang out on the curb and drink some beer with us?
no, yeah, not that well.
Yeah.
But they one of them challenged me to eat a whole jalapeno, and then the other 4 heard this, and they were like, "Yeah, man, we'll all give you $10 a piece if you."
No, I didn't ask this earlier, but did you like just have a jalapeno on hand?
No, I had to go get one.
Okay.
I don't think I would. If they would have should have pulled a jalapeno out and said, "Hey," like, nah, I wouldn't have done that.
It's like you've been planning this for how long?
What's in the jalapeno? Because.
Okay.
But so I went and picked out a jalapeno, and I mean I accepted the challenge. I was like, I mean, this is $50.
Yeah.
And I'm a 16-year-old. You know, I'm only human. I'm like, that's $50. You know, we can get past a hot. You know,
Yeah.
and of course I'm thinking, nah, it's not gonna be that bad. It's not gonna be that bad.
In your mind, you're thinking, I could buy a house with $50.
Like that's gas for weeks. But so I took the jalapeno and pretty much just bit the whole thing off from the stem, you know, the whole thing. And it took, at first it was nothing, you know.
Yeah.
3 seconds into it though, sitting there just chewing it. Oh man, it let loose. And I start coughing. I'm like spitting seeds and pepper out, you know, and I immediately go over to
The guys are just laughing in your
Oh, they're
face.
cracking up. They're having a blast. I go over to the cooler that's right there by the cash register, and I grab 2 Fruitopias and chug them. And I'm realizing this works only while I'm drinking, because as soon as you stop liquid, burn. So they're cracking up. I collect my $50.
Yeah.
Put it in my pocket, and then I proceed back to the dairy department, and I get a loaf of bread on the way and a half gallon of milk, and I go back in the dairy cooler, and I start drinking milk and chewing, you know, tabbing bread on my tongue, and it took a good 15 minutes to calm it down. But now that I would say was worth the $50.
You lost like $15 doing drinking and eating.
No, I didn't pay for any of that stuff.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't have time. But it wasn't pleasant, but again, it wasn't, I still don't claim it as bad as the.
You would still say it was worth it, though.
Yeah, because I got $50. The second milk challenge by far was the worst thing I ever did.
Because you didn't get anything for it.
Exactly. And, you
It's
know,
like-
even if you
except-
did, what will be worth that, you know?
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, I got a title. It's like if in a video game you like do this like challenge you've been trying to complete for months, and when you finally get it, it's like, well, I got this stupid achievement, but now what? I spent like a portion of my life getting this dumb thing.
Yeah, I mean, I do think there's certain games like, oh yeah, this is worth 100% completing or whatnot, but I don't need 100% of the achievement to make
I have yet to find a game where I'm gonna put in that much effort.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, you and your Forza, you put in a lot of effort.
Hey, I enjoy it. I mean, I guess the only thing, it's funny because
Explain to the folks how much time you spent getting everything on that.
What are you talking about?
All your achievements on Forza, like all your cars and houses.
Oh, well.
Is it Forza Horizon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I got like one castle left to buy.
How many cars did you unlock in that game?
Well, now I'm up to like, I think last I played I had like 260 cars.
And how many are there in total?
No, thousands.
Okay.
I mean, it's...
Oh, so you haven't even made a dent.
Yeah. But, and the sad thing is you're never going to drive all these cars, you know, and what's funny is you collect enough points and stuff or rank up and stuff, and you get these things called wheel spins to win stuff. And when we first started the game, you'd spin the wheel and you'd win clothing.
Oh yeah.
For your little drive-atar guy.
I forgot about that. That in that game they have avatars.
Yeah.
And you can create your own.
Yeah,
little
you win clothing and stuff for the character.
And when you showed me this, I was like, isn't that a little bit pointless? Because you're not playing the game for the character, you're playing it for the cars and the scenery.
Right. So like on the wheel spins, you can win credits, new cars, or you can win clothing, anything from shoes to glasses to hats, shirts and all that stuff. Or you can win different emotes. Like you can do to celebrate when you win. Like your little guy will celebrate outside the car when he wins.
Some of this can be kind of fun, but you know.
Well, and here's what I've learned over the course of playing the game. At first, I thought winning that stuff was annoying and pointless.
Yeah.
Now I'm actually tired of winning cars because when you have over 260 in your garage, you're not driving all of them. I literally race like 3 different cars.
Yeah.
And now I look forward to winning the clothing because me and my brother that plays with me, we have a competition who can put together the most fruit bag outfit. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Make the most flamboyant character.
Yeah, and the stuff, the clothing you can win. I'm like, who would wear this?
Yeah.
It's like you want to see someone wear this in real life, but it's hilarious in game.
And I guess they have like different full outfits you can wear. Like the first one, the most easiest one I guess to win, the most popular one is a Santa Claus outfit. And then there's like a knight.
See, that sounds a lot like. Have either you ever played GTA 5 when that first came out? So
when it first came out only like a couple years ago.
Well, Christian, I'm a lot older than you. I played Grand Theft Auto
1.
That's it. Grand Theft Auto. That's what I played.
Like the top-down view one.
Dude, my first one was San Andreas.
The one right before San Andreas, right?
No, it was Vice City, I think actually.
The first one.
That's the one.
Yeah.
The first one I ever played was GTA 3. That one was fun on the PS2, and also Vice City, San Andreas. But on GTA 5 they have the online mode, and just like Forza, you have avatars, but the game's mostly focused on your character, but there is a lot of racing involved. And just like Forza, again, you can dress up your character and you can customize your cars however you want. You can like make the most ridiculous looking car, or you can actually care about your car and make it look decent.
Right.
And the same with the characters. When you win a race, you have emotes, and some are a lot more obnoxious than others, and some are just really rude. And again, just like Forza, there's so many cars in the game and different subcategories and all this. It's like I'm never gonna use any percent of the cars I own in my garage that are like getting dust all over them.
Right.
And it's just like I'm just gonna use this one supercar, like a Lamborghini or whatever, and just constantly win.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna drive my Fiat. You know.
Well, the thing is, once you find what vehicle works for whatever, like you have dirt racing, cross country, road racing. Once you figure out which car works best for those style of races, I'm like, I really only need these 3 cars. I don't need the other 263 or whatever. But
then they also have the categories of different kinds of bikes and motorcycles, and then there's also air races with planes. Like you can have your own personal jets and stuff and customize those as well. And it's just like a different array of different vehicles for different environments, and it's just like I'm never gonna use all these.
Well, like I'm starting to wonder like what I'm gonna do. I'm working my way to saving up enough credits to buy that last castle in Forza right now, and you get like I can't remember what car you get, but you get a car and you get it's like 15 super wheel spins. So I'll be able to like build my money back up a little bit. I'll probably win some more cars and some more clothes. But then after that, I'm like, well, I've bought everything on the map now.
Yeah,
so
what are you gonna do once you get that castle afterwards?
I guess just bask in my glory. I mean,
shove it in your brother's face, like, look what I got.
Well, it's kind of a race with him because he had a little lead on me, and because I had bought that other castle first, he hasn't bought that one yet.
Oh, so
So he's going for the. There's one that's like 10 million, and there's one that's like 15 million credits, and he's going for the 15 million one first. I went ahead and bought the 10 million one because I was like, why not? I mean, who wouldn't want to live in a an oceanside castle? Because that's just amazing.
Can people go and visit your castle if you invite them? No.
It is online kind of though. Like, I mean, you'll find people wandering around, right?
Yeah, they'll be driving around in their cars, and like in the game, you can drive up to somebody, and if I don't think they have to be your friend, but you can send them an action request, and it'll just have you guys just race across the map somewhere.
You can do that in Need for Speed.
I think, like most racing games have that, where it's just like, hey, you just want to do a street race.
Yeah.
You just do whatever, go wherever.
What I like about that with that is I'll do that to my brother. When you hit, action on him, it'll start the race, and you just take off, and then it's up to him to catch you. And I'm like, that's the best. I get a head start too. That's great. You
can be like, want to race me, and immediately gun it, basically.
Yeah. It's like, well, go where I'm going,
Yeah.
I'll say when the finish line is. It's like right there. And it's like you're already like 5 inches away from it. It's like, that's not fair. You just made that on the spot. And it's like, well, too bad.
Yeah, but I don't know what I'm gonna do after I win that castle or whatever. I mean, it's fun to play online, and they're tweaking the game here and there about because it used to be where it was just the first like 30 seconds of the race was nothing but a crash derby.
Really?
And then whoever was at the front of the pile was the one who won the race because they got away from everybody. So now they got it set up a little bit where like if you're gonna because what would happen is people would come flying up to a sharp curve, and you'd be slowing down to take the curve, and they'd just slam into you and use you to go around the curve. And so what they did now is, if that's happening and the game senses that, it'll ghost you, let them go flying right through you into the wall, because that's what they would do.
Yeah, exactly.
They would slam into you, and both of you would stop.
Yeah.
But it's not going to punish you because people would actually get online just to be that jerk.
Yeah.
And just wreck everybody, which they still kind of do. It's gone down a lot since they've tweaked it a little bit, but there's still times where it's it doesn't register enough to where it ghosts either one of you, and like somebody can tap you right outside of a checkpoint.
Yeah.
And then it makes you want to throw your remote and stuff. But Colton. But
yeah, I'm guilty of that.
So it's not perfect, but it's a lot better since they've tweaked it. I really don't play anything else right now. I mean, I play a little PUBG here and there.
So I would say that segues into an interesting topic we've
I want to
talked
add
about.
something.
Okay,
quick.
go ahead.
I've been playing a lot of Need for Speed Rivals recently. I believe that came out like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's very similar, to how Forza's set up, except they kind of want you to crash each other, and they give you certain abilities like Shockwave and EMP Blast and whatnot to help run into other people.
So Mario Kart.
Sort of. It's not like you're hitting a question block. It's like a cooldown that you buy for your car, whatnot, and you have certain. Anyway, it can be kind of annoying, especially when you're racing against bots, and the first thing they do when you drift around the corner is just run into you and use your Shockwave and send you flying over the edge or something. Oh my, I get so mad. Just alright, I'm just gonna stop racing, I guess. Anyway, I just want to add to that. It's a little more toxic in Need for Speed, but they kind of built it to be that way.
Yeah. They wanted to be mean to each other.
Well, they had to do a thing too now where they so you can't use the wall to get you through a curve. If you hit the wall, they do a thing called a slowdown. And they will make your car go at like 20 miles an hour for like 3 full seconds.
What?
And you're sitting there and people are just like passing you, and it's like, man, I shouldn't have hit that wall. And sometimes though, it's amazing how 3 seconds in that situation feels like an eternity.
Oh yeah.
And you're like screaming at the game like, go, go, go. I just lost 8 places.
But wouldn't that be like out of your hand if you hit the wall not on purpose?
Well, you can use it sometimes.
I mean, the game can tell if you're going around a curve too fast and you slide into the wall, that's when it does it. A lot of times it won't do it if somebody hits you because they'll ghost you. Because like I'll be halfway through a curve and someone will come flying through and it'll ghost me because that's not going to be fair to the person that's racing. I'm doing as good as I was doing racing, and all of a sudden it's like, there's some guy comes along and T-bones him into the wall. And, well, too bad, you're not going to win.
In Need for Speed, they don't have a speed cooldown for the most part, but they have a very sensitive crash mechanic where if you hit a wall too hard or hit a car too hard, you would just trigger a 10-second cutscene if your car is flipping. And so that can be kind of frustrating. And they also have like a multiplier to where we've been racing for a while and not getting caught by the police, because the whole point of the game is not to get caught by the police for as long as possible. And the longer you go, the more your multiplier goes up. But if you run into a wall or something, it will bring your multiplier down and you get less points for the next couple of seconds. So that's kind of a way to counteract that. I just find it interesting how they balance that in all the games. They all have a different take on it.
I mean, most racing games, you always try to see what new mechanic they can add to it to make it more interesting. But like I said earlier, I wanted to segue into an interesting topic we've talked about, which is just the idea of like crashing cars. It's somewhat into the category of like insane sports and crazy stunts that people do. So like that would category that would fall like into derbies. And me and Ben had talked about a lot of just insane stunts that some people do that are like willingly. They know they're putting themselves in a life-threatening situation, but they enjoy that.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've talked about was like not paragliding, but wingsuit diving, and how
those guys are crazy.
This was an old documentary I saw, and I told Ben about this one place like in the Alps or something. There's this like little town and village in a valley, and these wingsuit divers or skydivers, they just love going there because it's like an amazing spot to do it.
Yeah.
And there's this one spot that Ben knows about where there's a natural rock formation where it's like a ring on the side of a mountain.
It's like a loop kind of.
Yeah.
Like you go through the hole.
Yeah,
Really?
and people like to go for that hole. And there have been
That's such a
countless.
dangerous game to play.
There have been
They
countless.
don't always make it.
Yeah. And in my mind, as a normal person, is like, what in?
Hold on.
Okay, not so normal person.
Yeah, okay.
But not as crazy, not as life-threatening crazy. In my mind, I'm thinking, what is going on in these people's heads that makes them want to go for something like that, where they know their chances are very low?
There's a theory that a lot of those daredevils have like low serotonin, I think it is, where they're naturally a lot more dull to a lot more things. So say if I go on a roller coaster,
But no,
I get a lot more enjoyment out of that than say a person that does stuff like that. They
But some
need
of these-
something that's more life.
some of these people are normal though. Like there was this one guy who was like, "Yeah, I'm an accountant. I love doing this as a hobby."
Just because they have a boring job doesn't mean they're not
But it's
necessarily
like-
boring personality.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you sound like an average person who's like, I got a wife and some kids, and you know, we live in a normal neighborhood, but I just love putting my life in danger.
Yeah.
You know, possibly losing it all.
I mean, some people just need that. I feel like to just
Yeah.
feel
Didn't
some
you say?
excitement.
Didn't you say the people from the village go up there and?
Oh yeah, they've talked about how like there's always someone getting like dead. Like
I mean, think about how fast they're going.
It's normal for them to just like hear about, oh well, that one tourist died today. It's
Even if you like, I mean, I can imagine what it's like if you like full on hit the stone, hit the rock wall. Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
But think about the dude who like nicks it just enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Like
gets-
your arm's gone. How
Well,
do you?
Well, and they say too, it's like when they're going down the side of a mountain, the smallest, faintest touch from something can set you off balance and send you
Yeah,
flying.
and then totally ruin your day.
Yeah.
But I
And they'll also say it's like if you're going straight for a mountainside, you have no chance. You just gotta either hope you survive or just
Can
like
you pull the parachute?
or
early?
no, they don't have parachutes.
They
or,
have it for the
yeah,
end.
dude.
or for the end, but like they can tell like when they're not gonna make it,
Yeah.
and they're just like
Well,
just
I
know
think
it.
I think it comes down to your timing.
Yeah.
But and they say too like
Like
if you
this is very grim and morbid.
well, let me get this through first. But they'll say that when they're going, if they get lucky and they're like going down like a mountain slope or a hill, then it's like the best you can hope for is just to like tumble and roll and like possibly break.
yourself.
Yeah, they're like you're lucky just breaking a few bones and surviving. You know. But what were you gonna say?
I was just thinking, and this will make you laugh just
Yeah.
because I know you.
If I'm not too tired.
Some guy comes down and just straight up hits the side of the mountain.
Yeah.
2 seconds later, the parachute.
Yeah.
Like the late airbag.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like a Looney Tunes bit.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, some of that extreme stuff is just, it's too out there. I think, doesn't Addison do a good bit of mountain biking?
Yeah, he's into that.
And remember, was it a few years ago? You remember when he got hurt?
See, I didn't hear about this.
I don't remember.
You remember when he got, I can't remember if he was...
I think he said, he's told me he's fell off, like,
wasn't he, like,
times.
doesn't he also, like, do some downhill, like, skateboarding, like, off-road, kind of?
I don't think so.
What is that called? It's like...
I don't know.
It's like dirt bikes, but with bicycles.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like where they jump those hills.
But he, like, wrecked one time. He missed work because of it.
Really?
He, like, fell, and, like, his back...
Oh yeah, he told me.
And his
that.
legs were all, I'm talking like huge scrapes and gashes.
He told me it mostly messed up his back. I didn't hear about
Yeah,
his
he was
legs.
real sore, and he couldn't work. He didn't come to work for a whole day because he said it was just, he couldn't move his legs and his back was killing him. And he had all these, he showed me that when he did come back, but he had all these, I mean, you know how like if you scrape your arm?
Yeah.
He had that, but it was like what a rock would do to you, like hitting your skin at like 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, 2 inches like deeper. Than
Yeah, it was like, wow, I wouldn't be doing that anymore.
Yeah, but he's just like, man, I love the rush. You know?
I mean, I think it's a little more safer. I mean, he does do a little more dangerous stunts, but it's not life-threatening for the most part.
Yeah.
You know?
But like in that documentary with the wingsuit divers, this one couple, I think they interviewed them first and then the aftermath. So they apparently met through skydiving or whatever. They went out for a bit. They got married like half a year later together.
I thought they got married on the paraglide.
No. But they're married for like a couple years. They go to that Alps place, I think.
Yeah.
And the guy goes for the hole, obviously perished.
Really?
Yeah, and she was like, yeah, it's really sad, and I miss him a bunch, but she was like, I knew this was gonna happen. Like, I was prepared for it way ahead of time, because that's what they say. They're like, if you're both into this, you just got to be ready for when one of you goes or both of you do. And I'm just like, that's dark. That's really freaking dark. And like,
or there's that other option of not doing it.
Yeah, that was my option. It's like, how about stop after you're married? But then she like gets into another relationship with another guy who's into the same thing. I'm like,
didn't you say that she said too though she was okay because he died doing what he loved?
Oh yeah, she was like, I'm not too saddened by it because he at least died doing what he loved. I'm like, that's, how about just not die? You know, go find something else that's a lot safer that you love. You know, and
like burgers.
Yeah, or bird watching. You know,
bird watching.
Go pick flowers.
Yeah, but you watch, she'd go bird watching, and then some dude in a wingsuit would fly by and hit her and knock her head off.
Yeah,
that would just be
But we were saying how it's just funny for those village people when they're just like, oh, there goes another one. They go get the wheelbarrow. It's like, we gotta go get them.
I did see one video of people doing that on YouTube. They had a GoPro on like their helmet they were wearing, and they were crazy. They jumped down and went 90 degrees down like the cliff, just getting as close as they could to like.
What was that one thing you said about the cliff? A sport?
Base jumping.
Base jumping, yeah. That's...
Where you jump into the ocean?
No, this is just straight up jumping off. Like,
I brought that up.
Like, I think people have base jumped off a building.
Okay,
and
what
you
do?
You have your parachute on.
Oh.
And you run and just jump off.
Yeah. You pull it as close as you can to the ground.
Oh, I think I've seen that before.
And I'm just like, that's to me, you're relying too much on your parachute.
Well, and your timing.
Because I want to pull the string, and I want to know that I'm going to have time to where if my original cord doesn't work, my reserve cord will. Because they have the original and they have the reserve just in case that one don't work.
Because like even if you do like normal parachuting, they warn you it's like once you reach this certain elevation, your parachute's like gonna only lessen the impact of the ground hitting you.
They talk about also it's like until you got 10 feet off the ground, if anything goes wrong with the parachute or anything, you are still in danger to just completely lose it. Like it's just there's no guarantee for that. And that's just not. I kind of like the idea of skydiving one day, like just for like say I did it. Nope. But at the same time, it's like why?
I would be the guy like we gotta jump. I'm like, can we try to land the plane?
Kind of at least wear like a military uniform, like night goggles, act like I'm
but
Spec Ops or something.
But meanwhile, your brother's in the other plane behind you, like flapping his arms in the air without a parachute.
My brother is very
bizarre.
He thinks it's funny, but he said if he ever fell out of a plane, he'd want to go out trying to make people laugh.
Oh yeah, you didn't hear this, Colton.
So he would try to flap his arms like a bird on the way down, which which is funny when you think about it. But
he says he wants to make people laugh on his way down.
But I also think too, you're not going to be thinking about that at that time.
No, you're going to be in full panic.
Yeah, he's going to go full panic mode and try to figure out how to survive.
Yeah. But if he does, I think I would owe it to him to laugh. Now the chances that I'm going to be there to see it happen.
But it'd be like one of those like really like sad laughs where you shed in tears and it's like you're forcing the laugh on.
You just watch it. It's
He gets.
But what was that other one weird, not sport, but thing that one guy did? He was like buff and he was hanging off a ledge of a building.
Oh, I saw this was just online the other day. He had to be like at least like the 30th floor of a hotel or something. And he does a handstand on the balcony railing.
Nope.
But then he's holding it and he leans his body out, only using his arms, and he's like you do like, he's like flexing his core and his legs to where he's sticking out perpendicular from the building. Just his arms holding the railing. And the whole time all I can think of is like, he trusts that railing too much.
He trusts his own strength too much.
Well, that's what I said.
You could listen. If you're strong enough to do it, you're strong enough to do it.
But Ben was saying like, what are the chances?
Say he gets a cramp though.
Well, one thing we talked about is like, what if there was like it rained the day or like a couple hours ahead of time?
That's true.
And it's like, or like, what if your palms are sweaty?
Yeah.
It's like you're trusting that grip from the railing and your hands way too much.
Yeah.
And who's to say that how old is that building? How old is that railing?
Yeah.
When was the last time that railing was tested?
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. If that railing just moves a bit, he's gone.
Yeah.
Because that jolt is going to startle him enough
to
just
let
go.
Yeah.
And his buddy's just sitting there filming it. I don't know.
Like I said, I think it's just some people are just more dull to the average excitement.
Like you were saying, like riding a roller coaster.
Yeah.
For a person like that, the roller coaster does nothing.
Yeah.
Or I feel like it's more like that child mentality where a young child doesn't know the idea. It doesn't come naturally to them, the idea of like danger or pain until they experience it.
I mean, I feel like once you
but
do
to
it
them,
once,
but to them, it's like nothing,
Oh,
so like a child mentality, they don't really grasp the concept of like mortality and danger.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I can get that.
And they just look at it like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
I
Yeah.
think you could say some of it too, especially if you're a person that has family and at some point it can be considered a little bit selfish.
Oh yeah.
And maybe
You're putting your own enjoyment ahead of your
saying I know it's what you enjoy and it's fun, but you got like 2 kids and a wife, and maybe it's time to try to calm down a little bit. And
it's like,
try to find something you can do that's not as insane.
It's like if you had a kid and a wife and you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna uproot all that, abandon them, and then go start a business. It's like way to go be a selfish jerk.
I feel like we've had a serious talk tonight almost.
A little bit.
But
it's more of us just bashing idiotic people.
I feel like we had a little bit of fun.
Yeah. Back onto the subject though.
Oh my god. Here we go.
There was a...
What, vegetarians?
No, they couldn't compete in any of these sports. This is the last of the dangerous sports and moves we want to keep on it, but sword swallowing, that's another one.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I saw that in Hawaii.
You saw it in Hawaii?
They have that traditional thing of like the native people that used to be there, where they do the dance, they had the fire and everything.
Hawaiians?
Yeah, Hawaiians.
I think it is.
You insensitive.
Oh,
man.
like before we kind of took control.
Just call them. Just say natives.
The natives of Hawaii.
I mean, Ben was kind of correct with the Hawaiian term. It's pretty descriptive and accurate.
I guess.
It's like you wouldn't go to Japan and call a Japanese person a native. Just say you're Japanese.
It's not exactly inappropriate.
Yeah, it's not inappropriate, but it's just like I've never had someone correct me on what to call a Hawaiian person.
Anyway, they would do. It actually took a little while to get to the good part because they just did a bunch of dancing around. I was like, whatever, what is this? And then, but at the end, they started dancing with fire. I think one guy had a sword and he did stick it down his throat at one point. I'm just like, what is going on? And, it's just like we went from like a 1 to a 20.
They didn't do the like
10.
fire on the stick dance where they twirl it.
Yeah. They do it between the legs. One guy's skirt, like grass skirt, got caught on fire for a second. They had to put it out.
On purpose or accident?
No, it went by him and it caught on fire. And then one of the guys behind him just quickly patted him down. And
They probably trained for that. And
Yeah.
What a terrible first time experience. It's like, thanks a lot, guys, for the authenticity.
Yeah.
I think it's something else, and this goes for everything we've talked about as far as the insane stuff. What I find hard about it is, for us being on the outside of it, when something bad happens to these people, it's not that I don't have any like remorse at all, but it's just like, you kind of knew what you were getting into here.
You knew the risk.
You know, swallowing a sword. It's like, oh, you're internally bleeding now. It's like, well,
who would have known you stabbed yourself through your
that's because you
corpse?
put a sword down your throat.
They talk about
It's like
some people light their swords on fire and stick them.
it's like you found a shortcut
and
on
it's
how
just
to.
like they completely damage that.
It's like you found a new way to stab yourself.
Oh, I have a medical condition. Like, what is it? It's like, oh, well, I swallowed flaming swords for 20 years. So now I can't, I can only eat liquids and I can, I mean, it's just.
That's got to be like a million times worse than like smoking, for example.
Duh. Because smoking is like, that's a slow process.
Yeah, exactly.
One's like instantaneous and quick and over. You never know when.
I think you gotta be paranoid too. Like when you're a sword swallower, like they get it down there and then they'll like bend down to show you.
Yeah.
Like they'll bend directly at the waist to show you. And I'm thinking, I'd be so paranoid. Like while I'm doing this, I'd be like, everybody stand still while I'm doing this. And you don't need the. You don't need the stupid juggler like bumping into you.
Yeah.
The clown bumps into you. It's like, whoopsie,
Some guy just comes out of nowhere and just pushes you.
The clown thinks it's all a bit, and he starts laughing at you.
He honks his little horn.
You're laying there bleeding out internally.
Do you want to talk about the Joker movie that's coming out a little bit?
With Joaquin.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Yeah, we could talk about a bit of that.
Yeah,
I mean, again,
he looks pretty insane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
right.
I like the
That'll
idea.
end it there.
I like how original it seems, but it does take a lot of the source material also.
I mean, it derives a lot from like other source materials, but in a
Yeah.
way, it's still more of its own standalone
Exactly.
thing. Again, I do think casting Joaquin was like a good call.
Oh yeah, if he's like
Like-
all of his new movies he's done has been
Yeah.
so good.
He's definitely like playing the role right of Joker
Yeah.
so far, from what I've seen. And again, this was just my own pet peeve, but I was just kind of more than put off because it's an origin story for Joker.
I see.
I was just like, I already know,
They
like,
also call it a character study, more like.
but it's like I've already dealt with like 5 or 6 different Joker and origin Jokers stories through the comics, games, and movies and TV shows.
Well, I feel
So
like
I've reached a point where it's like I'm tired of origin stories, and I just want to see like another, pretty much like a Batman movie where
yeah,
it's
he's
like
already
it delves,
there.
yeah, it delves more into what Joker's doing to mess with everyone around him.
I think the problem with that is, for one, it's a new one. And it's
Yeah.
hard to just start. That's kind of what the problem with Jared Leto's version, even though people didn't
Yeah.
like it from the start, is just that he was already there, so he was just kind of there the entire time.
Well-
He had no like purpose in anything.
Well, if you ever looked into the behind the scenes when they were making that movie,
Oh,
they
yeah.
apparently cut out like
a lot,
like pretty much a full length movie film
Yeah.
of Joker bits.
according to Jared Leto,
According to Jared Leto.
but
I don't know. And was it ever released or not?
no.
But
I mean,
but he was saying like he could have made like his own movie with that character.
I think
And-
Margaret Robbie even confirmed that the girl that played Harley Quinn,
Yeah.
she was like, we recorded so much, like just between him
Yeah.
and her.
That movie Suicide Squad, by the way, is just a disaster in my opinion.
I thought it was okay when it first came out, but it was.
Actually,
They did
I
not need
never,
a Joker.
I never saw it actually.
No, you didn't.
I never saw it actually.
Would you want us to spoil it then?
Go right ahead.
There was too many quick cuts.
Oh yeah.
The story and the conflict they were going
Oh
through.
yeah.
Like even if you had to fit it all into a movie-length film, there was still just too many jump cuts and too many parts that had nothing to do with the story. Joker played very small clips here and there throughout the movie where it's like Joker was pretty much useless.
Yeah.
Like there was no point of him being there.
The way they advertised it made it seem like he was the main bad guy,
I know.
and because it was just like that's the only way you could really fit into everything.
He played a part in the end.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah, they should have made him the bad guy because I didn't really like the bad guy.
Oh yeah, the bad guy was really dumb and ridiculous.
Yeah, because it could have been really interesting. Because Harley Quinn could have been kind of like a double agent and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, he cheated on me and whatnot, and then at the end, the twist that she's actually loving him the whole entire time or something like that. Either way, I just feel like that could have been done a lot better.
Wasn't Will Smith in that?
Yeah.
He actually did a really good job.
Yeah, Will Smith did a good job as
that's-
Deadshot.
I mean, like,
Oh, now I'm
Margaret
gonna have
Robbie,
to watch it and see because
Margaret Robbie and Will Smith were the best two actors in there. She played such a good Harley Quinn. He played such a good Deadshot and likable character.
I wouldn't say Margot Robbie was my favorite, but I thought she was okay.
I thought she did a good job. She changed her accent a little bit. She seemed to really get into character. I thought she did really good.
So, do you guys have like a favorite comic book
Villain?
character in general?
Character.
I mean, villain, hero.
For me, it was always Spider-Man and Batman. I just grew up with those two. And
Spider-Man's my
I just loved them.
favorite Marvel, but Batman is by far my favorite
And,
hero
like,
of all time.
Yeah,
I would say those are the two most humanly written characters in my opinion, especially Spider-Man. Spider-Man is just, again, his origin story most of the time is he was just some geek who got powers and was just thinking of doing good.
Would you say Batman's more human though?
He's a lot less relatable in my opinion.
Batman's less relatable, but he's
still more human though.
He
He doesn't have powers.
exactly.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's like up against with all these other beings far superior than him, but yeah, he can still like keep up and be better than them sometimes.
But what I like about Batman so much is
Better than Aquaman.
Oh yeah.
is that he's so close to being like the bad guy he doesn't want to be.
Oh yeah.
So you can always see like he's the darkest one of all.
Yeah.
Like he is
And
just dealing with some.
I know
deep
people
crap.
like to say it's like, well, what separates him or like keeps him from crossing the line is his one rule, not killing.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's kind of, but it's what I mean. Once he crosses that line, it's over.
It is a very like respectable and like well written topic that they bring up all the time. It's like, well, he's the only one who's never killed,
Yeah.
Whereas like after a while, they try to write Superman like that too, but they also write him to be like psychologically less inferior to Batman because at a certain point he'll break. Whereas Batman, he's been dealt like so many cards where he still hasn't broken yet.
Batman has to put on a face while Superman seems more naturally stable.
Well, and it's like also Batman, he can put himself more closer to a person's shoes and what they see from their point of view versus Superman, who's only ever known like looking down at others because he's at the top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just like one of those things where that's really hard to compete with. You've been dealt so many good cards in your life. It's how can you say you know how this person feels and thinks,
Oh yeah.
We're delving into the psychology of superheroes.
I also think that's why Joker is like the best villain to Batman ever, because it's such a good.
Well,
like,
they always
Joker says the dynamic duo.
They've always written it as they both need each other.
Oh yeah.
Well, and I like the fact too that like if you look at every other villain that Batman faces, there's some outside motivating factor.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's always some.
Whereas
like,
Joker is doing this just to mess with Batman.
Yeah, every other villain Batman's ever dealt with, they've had a motive, and it's a reasonable motive a lot of the times. Take for Dr. Freeze, for example. He lost his wife, and Mr. Freeze, but
That's it. We're done. I'm not gonna have you sit here and ruin these names.
But he lost his wife, and this is like canon to one universe, I guess. And she loved the snow. And an episode of one of the like animated series of Batman, he wanted to make it snow in Gotham because it was her birthday, and he just like loved her so much.
Didn't she have something?
She had a cancer.
She had a disease he was trying to heal.
That's why.
So he froze her.
Yeah.
And didn't she end up dying?
Some depends on the comic, but
because when you referenced the animated series,
yeah,
I remember that what happened is where I guess it was like where he worked. He was using the stuff at this lab to keep her in cryogenic freezing, and then he got like they found out like the company found out about it and like shut it down.
Yeah.
So therefore, she like passed away, and that's when he went like
he lost it.
He went off the deep end and made his little freeze suit.
And that's why also Batman always says to never put these guys in all his villains in prison, but to put them in an asylum. In a way, he's just trying to help them by breaking through their like psychological.
And when you think
illness.
about that with Mr. Freeze too, it's like, well, that's kind of messed up, but they did that to him.
Yeah.
Like maybe we could have.
But Batman's also, it's like that doesn't give you an excuse for murder.
Yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like you can kind of sympathize with. Well, I know you wanted to do good, but you could have done it better. A lot of them are like that. I forget Bane's backstory on one of the one of his backstories, I guess. But he was like, didn't he used to live like in like a South American slums, and he was in gangs and all that stuff.
He seemed to be like a backstreet.
Yeah, but he was like
boxer, wrestler type.
Yeah, but I think one of the
and stuff like that.
One of the stories was he was like an orphan, and then he was in prison for a while because he was a young delinquent. Like some scientists like took him and started experimenting on him or something like that, and like he broke free and came to Gotham, and he tried to build up like a gang empire. He was just like, he just grew up bad.
See, and a lot of things I saw with Bane, obviously until the third Dark Knight movie or whatever.
Yeah, they kind of changed a lot of things about him.
Yeah,
that was
weird. I mean, I still like
he was never like, and he wasn't, in that movie he ended up not being like the head leader anyway.
Yeah.
But animated series and a few of the comics that I read, I didn't read many Batman comics, but he was never like the head henchman. He kind of like, didn't he at some point in a lot of the like cartoon series, he worked a lot for Poison Ivy, I think.
Yeah.
Like as her like
he
a
worked
henchman.
with anybody.
And wasn't he a henchman in one of the movies too?
I never saw a lot of the older movies.
What was the one with Mr. Freeze? When Arnie played Mr. Freeze.
I don't know that. Was that the Batman that had the weird suit with like the nipples on it?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Was that Batman Forever?
It was Batman.
No, that
and
wasn't
Robin.
Forever. That's right.
Batman.
That's
and Robin.
right.
Who was it that directed those movies? It was
I don't know, but it did not do well. No one liked the cast of Batman. No one liked the suit of Batman, and no one liked the story altogether. It was just I heard.
See, I think Batman Forever was much better.
Yeah.
Even though it was still kind of quirky.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll brush up on our movie facts soon.
But like, I think Batman Forever might have been one of my favorite Batman movies until Batman Begins, The Dark Knight Rises come out.
Because Christopher Nolan is
those
amazing.
three by far are my favorite Batman movies now.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight being the favorite, of course.
Oh yeah.
And the sad thing is, it's not even because of Batman. It's more because of Heath Ledger playing Joker.
Oh yeah, he did such a good job.
I know people hate comparing every Joker to him, but he was just like he's placed like the pinnacle example of what a Joker should ultimately be sometimes.
To be fair, Jack Nicholson was like, no one wanted to touch that character after Nicholson did it before him.
Yeah.
Because it was considered as like, you can't beat that. So there's always a standard to live up to.
Yeah. And me and Ben have talked about it. We know some actors hate being referenced and held to this one character, like that's all they're known and good for. But it's like, you can't really be upset by that sometimes. It's like
when you play a part that good.
Yeah.
You did it to yourself. I'm sorry. You're just
and also
that people
character
like
in most people's minds now.
You're now like the biggest example used in comparison to most stuff now. And it's like, I take that as flattery because it's like, now people want to be as good as me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, now people want to reach my level.
I mean, there were
scenes. Isn't that the
scenes.
goal of the actor, is just to be like so good they don't even see you like as the actor, they see that character instead.
Well, they want to. I don't think they say that a lot of the time, but I think like you said, they do want to keep getting better in their career. They're always looking for new ways to gain new ways to enhance their careers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they don't mind being held to one character, but they also don't want it to influence their line of work as well. Like, oh, well, we want you to be kind of like this similar character. It's like, how about you let me play this role like I'm going to play this role? You know, I'm not looking at like, I'm going to play it like I did that last role. You know, this is a new project. This is a new movie. It's separate from that one. Like, I don't want to be held up to the standard of that movie. I want to, like, start from scratch, you know, treat me like the rest. Because they don't, I know some actors get that ego-ness and big-headedness where they think they're better than most. That's not really common, but it happens to a few.
I will say, I think the person I've seen that's been affected the most by that has been Mark Hamill. No one wanted to cast him after Star Wars. It was like, I don't want Luke Skywalker in my movie, so he had to go to voice acting instead, because that's the only people.
That would annoy me so bad. I'm I can be other things.
I think part of the reason is his acting was the best, I guess you could say, out of the original Star Wars trilogy. But at the same time, George Lucas doesn't give a lot of direction.
I saw him.
And that's another thing too. People love the voice he does for Joker.
Oh yeah, he
actually loves that. He says he loves doing the voice of Joker too.
He just can't do it that much good anymore because his voice is wearing out.
He's always says he doesn't like playing Joker unless he has that other guy playing Batman.
Oh, he's such a good Batman.
Yeah.
Have you heard recent news about that guy?
No, what?
They're gonna do Batman Beyond movie.
Oh yeah,
and he's gonna play the old Batman.
Old Batman.
And I think that's such a good cameo.
But yeah, Mark Hamill said he doesn't like doing any.
I forget his
rolls
name.
without him.
He's the voice of the Batman the animated series. He plays like every single cartoon
With
Batman
Mark
you
Hamill,
see.
of course.
Mark Hamill always plays the Joker, and he always plays the Batman. Basically.
Well, I saw Mark Hamill. It was funny because he was a guest. I want to say it was like a Law and Order episode or
I think you brought this up once.
something, and the whole time I was watching the episode, I'm like, it's Luke Skywalker. He did it. He was the bad guy. He ended up being like the guy they were chasing.
Wasn't he like still young? Like this was after Star Wars or something?
Yeah, this was. I wouldn't say it was like right after Star Wars, but it was. I'd say mid '90s. You know, and this was after he probably hadn't done much since Star Wars. And then all of a sudden, he's like, he's a guest star on whatever show this is, and everybody, of course, is like, it's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. I mean, I do understand why the directors don't want that, because it does take you out of the experience if you're thinking that the entire time.
Yeah.
I also just feel like sometimes it's like if he plays the part good enough, he should.
But see, the thing is too is think about what he's done. How many movies has he been in Star Wars now?
He's been. Well, I guess does episode 7 really count? He stood there at the end.
But yeah.
I guess.
So he's been in 5 movies.
Yeah, 5.
Just be happy with that, dude.
He's gonna be in the next.
You're
one
in part of the. You're in one of the biggest, movie franchises in the history of movies.
That is still referenced for many, many years and constantly talked about.
And I know, yeah, you want to do more with your career and stuff, but it's like,
well, I feel it's like you've placed yourself in history for a long time now.
You would consider that an iconic role, right?
Oh yeah, his Joker voice is the best ever. Have you heard it?
What series was this?
Hold on, I'll look up Mark Hamill's laugh. That's the creepiest thing about it.
You're not gonna do it.
No, I'm just gonna play it. This is a slight clip of.
We're gonna have sound clips. All right.
Yeah.
After this, let's all try to do our best Joker laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I can't. Dude, he's.
You want me to try?
No.
Yeah,
You would have to like strain your voice to like a high pitch.
Don't worry about it.
Somehow you manage. Oh my gosh, Colton.
I don't know what the first one's gonna play.
I'm gonna cut all this.
You get the point, but
Yeah.
you can't even recognize that's him
And
anymore.
now I'm gonna have nightmares.
Yeah, it's creepy, but it's also.
Yeah.
I think he even made a point to the first guy that casted him that he
Yeah.
wanted to create emotion for each laugh he did.
Oh yeah,
Like a sad.
he has
and
different
angry.
laughs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's actually really good. He doesn't have the one laugh.
Yeah. I think too, man, we're kind of going all over the place with all these different actors, but with the Heath Ledger Joker,
Oh, his laugh is pretty good too.
there were two things in that movie that were like just like, and it's weird for like a movie to give you chills or something, or
Oh,
you
yeah.
talked
but
about
like
this.
when he says that first time he says why so serious, it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
oh my god, that was creepy. And then when he's got the dude captured,
Yeah. Oh.
And, like,
yeah. that
he's
was
telling the
messed
guy to
up.
look at him when he's filming him, like when he's showing him.
Oh yeah.
Because he was pretending to be Batman.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then like he goes full on, like he's like, look at me, and then he gets extremely loud, extremely hateful. Look at me.
Yeah, because he wasn't. Yeah.
And at that point, I was like watching. I was like, my eyes got all big. Like, good lord.
Like back up in your seat.
Like that guy just crapped his pants sitting there
Oh,
because
yeah.
of that. To go from what is almost a playful Joker character to
Right
like-
there.
like
in a
what
second.
just happened?
like a psychotic serial killer, and then there's like serial killer, super serious
Yeah.
serial killer.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow.
Like he's not laughing anymore.
Did you know that Michael Caine and Christian Bale, the one that played Alfred and Batman?
Yeah.
That's the first time they saw Heath Ledger's performance. They were actually watching that tape. That was like a live
Oh wow.
thing.
I
So
love
they
good
were
old
just like
Christian
blown
Bale.
away by it. It was like, holy crap, we have some
Yeah, that
real
was
talent.
those two lines, and that especially the one where he says, look at me or whatever. I was just like,
Honestly, I love Michael Keaton's performance as the butler. I forget his name.
Michael Caine?
Michael Caine.
I think that's his name.
I thought it was Michael Keaton.
Didn't Keaton play Batman
Keaton played Batman in
in
1989.
Batman 2,
I mixed up their last
No,
names.
it was the
or was it the original?
it was the Tim Burton Batman. Back
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. Tim
Yeah.
Burton
It-
made
that is
Nipple
such a-
Batman.
I think it's 1979 Batman.
It's a good one.
A great movie, dude.
What about Adam West and the Batman TV series?
Oh my god.
Honestly, I watched a lot of those episodes.
Yeah.
Good old spandex Robin.
They're actually kind of fun. I mean, they're goofy, but
I
it
still
works.
think I always felt sometimes like Batman kind of just wanted to, Robin, go do something while I solve this crime. You're bothering me.
You
Yeah.
ever seen the Broadway play of Batman and Robin?
No,
It's
How would
really-
they ever make that?
Huh?
Why would they make it a Broadway? Because
they made Spider-Man a Broadway.
Yeah. Well, that's
was it like a musical, or was it just?
well.
I hope it wasn't a
Yeah.
musical. I hope it
I don't-
was just.
I want to say high class Broadway. It's obviously like a goofy for the average Joe.
want to see the musical, Spider-Man the musical.
Oh my god.
I thought there was.
But it's pretty much like they do like little tidbits if it was like for a kid. But obviously there's like adult language in it, you know. But it's just so weird seeing these grown men in tight pants and stuff in person.
Yeah.
It's like, good gosh. Like they actually have like actual Adam West Robin's outfit. I'm just like, that's.
So he used to wear that all the time?
Yeah.
Really?
It's like that looks really uncomfortable and disgusting.
That's why they had to put the. That's why they ended up putting the shorts with it.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine that without the shorts?
Well,
It's
yeah.
not.
Well, why was who was the original author of Batman and all that in the DC?
He was very different. The very original one. He apparently wielded a gun and stuff, and they had to completely like rework him over time.
But it's just whoever thought to put Robin in that outfit, just put him in jail.
But I think part of it was he's supposed to be a lot younger. He's supposed to like not be taken as seriously as
You can
Batman.
still give him
he's
pants.
Still like the trainee. That's true.
Well, didn't
You don't need to take the kid's pants away to make him seem like a child.
didn't they reference that in?
Oh yeah, they reference it in a lot of like newer stuff now. It's like, remember that old outfit you used to wear, Robin? And it's
Was
just-
it? They referenced that in Batman Forever.
I never
Like
watched
why
that
he
one.
wears his, because that was his trapeze family's.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
That was his trapeze
Oh.
family's outfit. That's what they all wore. The flying
That's
Graysons.
kind of sad.
That was
yeah.
So
that
that's
one,
why he wears it. But still, I would have made some suggestions to him as
Yeah.
Batman. I'd be like, "Hey, man,
that was Richard, and then
You're
Damien was
not-
the second Robin.
yeah, you're not exactly sneaking
What are you
around the
forgetting?
city
Jason.
wearing.
Oh yeah, Jason.
You're not exactly sneaking around the city wearing the yellow, red, and green.
Jason
You
was
know,
the third
Peter
Robin.
Pan outfit.
Wait, no, I thought it was Richard and then Damien.
Okay, we got Dick Grayson, the first
Yeah.
that became Nightwing.
Yes.
Jason Todd, who died by the
Oh.
Joker.
That's right, Jason. Yeah.
And then you had
Damien,
Damian
who
Drake.
became.
Is it?
He was the.
He was either. Sometimes he's
He was
just
either
a
an-
kid.
He was either an orphan or was he the trapeze family?
No,
Sometimes
Drake was the
no,
orphan kid.
he was either orphan kid. In some stories, he's even like Batman's biological son that he didn't know about for a
What?
while. Sometimes they do that.
Well,
in, like,
yeah,
some of the animations.
they played him as like being like his son from.
But that's
like,
that's
a
the
lover
one.
that died because the Joker killed her.
Yeah.
Drake's the one that's in
Teen
The Dark
Titans.
Knight Rises, right?
Yes, I think that's
Who ends
supposed
up
to be-
taking over there at the end? Who,
Yeah, I think so.
And then there was what's her name? I always forget her name, but Batgirl, Gordon's daughter,
Barbara Gordon.
Barbara Gordon. Yeah. And then like she couldn't be Batgirl anymore because Joker crippled her.
Yeah, she became Oracle
Yeah,
instead.
Oracle.
I just know this mostly. I haven't really read into Batman comics, but I played a lot of the
And
video
then-
games, and they go into the backstory of that a lot.
Didn't Dick become the Red Hood, or was that Damien also?
That was Jason Todd. Later, late down the line, because they killed him off, and then they brought him back like
Was
20 years later. It's like,
Lazarus.
oh, he's alive this entire time.
Well,
You know the real reason
Wasn't
they killed him off?
What?
He had two first names.
Well,
Yeah.
wasn't it because Ra's al Ghul brought him back with the Lazarus pit?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was okay. That makes a lot more sense. In the
Yeah.
All right, you
Comic.
nerds.
So bad.
But I played the video game. The video game, he was like, "Oh yeah, the Joker lied about it. He didn't actually kill him. He's
No.
been alive this entire time." Woo!
Well, and also in one of the animated series, they rewrote it and just made it where Joker brainwashed him, and then he had him try to kill Batman,
Yeah.
but then Jason turned on him and killed Joker instead, and then Batman had to send him away into psychiatry help because he was like completely broken.
Was
after
that the Batman Beyond?
I think that was Batman Beyond series.
And didn't he end up years later, like Joker planted like a chip on him, and he became the Joker?
No, that was someone else.
That was someone else. Okay.
Yeah, some other
I'm
guy.
getting- there's a lot of Batman stories.
Good God, you guys are digging way deep into this.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Batman's my favorite one.
I mean, I
follow
watched the
a lot of
original animated series as
Yeah.
a kid, and I watched like old school Adam West, Batman.
You've at least seen some of the older stuff compared to us. Like we're talking about like the recent like 2000s.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar on that part.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more familiar with the movies.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you'd like, we could talk about G.I. Joe.
I'm not.
Oh no, this will be short.
Okay.
Okay.
G.I. Joe
Well-
comic book series, great.
I guess you could run through your backstory through the whole franchise.
Well, I'm saying
Yeah.
the comic book series for G.I. Joe is good. The cartoon, G.I. Joe cartoon, awesome. Even the cartoon movie was good. These new movies they came out, these live action G.I. Joe movies they came
Oh.
out with, absolutely suck.
Didn't they kind of like reboot it essentially, where they just started from scratch?
They need to forget that these two movies exist.
What was the first one? Like
I think it was called G.I. Joe.
Just G.I. Joe's?
Yeah, but like, I mean, there were some things that were straight out of the comic book series, but then there were things that they kind of twisted around to the point of, if anybody watched the cartoon series, they were watching that movie going, this is stupid. This shouldn't be happening this way.
What's that one part you really hate in the movie with the weather machine?
No, that's the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the cartoon's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's called the BET, or the Broadcast Energy Transmitter.
Yeah.
And it's this machine, I kid you not. And part of the movie is G.I. Joe's trying to keep this machine out of Cobra's hands. And literally all this machine does is they turn it on and it just shoots energy everywhere and like turns everything on.
Doesn't it like control weather as well, or was it?
No, that was probably one. I think there was an episode where Cobra tried to have a weather, like they controlled a weather machine.
Why didn't they
like
just destroy it? Or
well, what we discussed was like, how did this thing create energy in the first place?
And you know what?
Once you get to that,
they have no. I mean, but there's no.
Yeah.
Well, like some movies can retcon like
by pushing,
some explanation. Like
he does it by pushing the 3 buttons on the control panel. That's what makes the energy.
Yeah.
And it's funny too because
this guy in a lab coat says it does this.
And I love the, it
just works.
I love the cartoon movie, but there are things about it like that are just like kind of silly, and you just have to use your imagination because it's obviously not a real thing. But
I mean, fair enough,
apparently anybody in G.I. Joe was qualified to run this machine too. And I'm like, is this really something you just want anybody having access to? Like,
I just like how it's like, yeah, we're just gonna keep it, but no one else can have it, kind of thing.
But what Cobra was using it for in the cartoon movie was they were using it to launch these spores up into the atmosphere of the Earth, and they would blow up, and then they would fall to Earth and mutate everybody.
Why do they need this thing to do that?
No idea. I'm just, You need to watch the movie because it'll kind of explain itself. It'll make a little more sense than what I'm saying right now. But as far as like the G.I. Joe movies go, the cartoon movie is hand downs better than G.I. Joe, and then the second one with The Rock in it.
Yeah,
they're just horrible. Number one, it's not good acting. It's just not.
Is Jason Statham in that, or is that the other guy? What's his name?
Channing Tatum's in.
Channing Tatum's in it?
Yes.
He plays the main character, right?
Yeah, he plays Duke.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And now see, like in the cartoon series, Duke and the Baroness, they do have like some kind of love thing going on at some point. In the first movie, they took that way
overboard.
Yeah, like supposedly at one point Duke was gonna marry her, and then it didn't happen. And
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, it's just like they took it too far.
Wow.
And the thing is too, the Baroness in the cartoon series, she didn't sound like someone or look like someone you'd want to have a relationship with.
Yeah.
Really?
But then of course the one, the chick that's in the real life movie, she's just amazingly hot, and all this stuff. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is not what this was.
Kind of like with the Transformer movies, where the hero's side chick she's just like insanely hot.
Yeah.
Like supermodel level.
Yeah. And see, here's a huge difference from the cartoon, comic, everything, and the movie. Okay, in the cartoon, Cobra Commander is like, he's the leader of Cobra, but he's a klutz. None of his ideas are, they're dumb, outlandish ideas. Yeah. Like, why don't we just attack G.I. Joe and shoot them? Yeah. Rather than let's come up with this elaborate plan.
It's too violent for the children.
And all this.
But then,
whereas in the movie,
you wonder like how this guy is like the leader.
Yeah, in the movie, Cobra Commander ends up, and oddly enough, it's the same guy who plays Drake in Batman: The Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
Same guy.
He's Cobra Commander?
He's Cobra Commander in the first one.
What?
Yeah.
Mind
but
blown.
How he gets there is he's Channing Tatum's. Okay, so the Baroness chick, it's her little brother.
What?
And they're in Iraq.
Did he get blown up by that bomb?
Yes, but he didn't. He was in the bunker with Dr. Mindbender.
Yeah.
Now, in the cartoon series, Dr. Mindbender is like a full-fledged, every episode character who helps with these insane schemes that he wants to do. Dr. Mindbender had the smallest part in the movie. In Cobra Commander, which was homeboy from Batman, it made him like the scientist who knew all this stuff because he learned it from Dr. Mindbender in that bunker. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
Cobra Commander was a bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
And then
He was pretty much like the second hand to the real genius of the operation.
yeah, and I kind of like how Destro becomes to be in the G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah.
He puts the mask on him,
Yeah.
But again, in the cartoon, Destro was one of these guys who was like, hey, instead of doing this stupid idea you have, let's just go kick their butt. Let's have an actual assault plan here.
Yeah.
Instead of...
You're making too much sense.
Changing the
I know, and it's just stuff me and my brother have talked about this for years. I mean, there was an episode in the original cartoon series where Cobra hired these mercenaries to become a rock band.
That's amazing.
And my brother will laugh. My brother will crack up if he hears this.
Yeah.
But they were called Cold Slither. Okay, which is funny itself. But their music hypnotized you to follow Cobra.
That's amazing.
So like they're taking the city by storm, and like everybody.
See, I'm laughing now, but I wouldn't be surprised if I watched this as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
As a kid, you were like, "This is so cool,"
Yeah.
blah blah.
It makes sense.
You watch it now, and you're like, "What
Yeah.
do you think? Like, why is this a good plan? Who agreed to this?"
Why not just go attack the base?
So they just wanted more soldiers? Were they low
Yeah.
on soldiers?
And so that
I guess
was,
There's just that one guy who keeps bringing that up. Let's go attack the base.
and I can't remember. I'm sure you can find the song on YouTube or something.
Yeah, you could probably find that episode.
But the song itself that they sung to hypnotize you,
Was it-
basically it was like,
was it good?
"We're Cold Slither. We're just playing our tune. Blah blah blah. You'll be joining us soon."
That is amazing.
And I'm like,
Could you make it more obvious?
okay, yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
But that's just,
Was it like some magical guitar or something like that was getting them to?
I honestly think it was just like there was some kind of sound wave they were sending out with while they're
That's
playing.
amazing.
And I know, I mean, obviously, the reason this show had success is because, yeah, if every episode was, we're going to go attack G.I. Joe today,
It'd be boring.
it would be stupid. I
Yeah.
get that. But then again, too, just some of these really creative, deep thought ideas like, hey, man, let's make a rock band.
Call it Cold Slither. That's a priority.
And that's the thing too is all the names of all their plans hint to it being Cobra.
Yeah.
It's all snake related. It's kind of funny. Me and my brother still have a bunch of the toys. Just have a ton of G.I. Joe toys.
I had one. I think I had a Duke at one point. I don't remember. I wasn't that into G.I. Joe as a kid because the cartoons weren't playing when I was there.
I missed out on that because I just didn't watch G.I. Joe.
But
I
yeah,
didn't know
the
it
two
existed.
movies they've done, I honestly wouldn't care if they scrapped them and tried again because the story's just so different.
How long has it been since the last one that came out?
Dude, it's
Forever.
So they could probably start over.
Yeah. Who owns it? Is it like Fox or is it?
I'm not sure. I
Yeah.
think Cold Slither owns it. But the other series I like to talk about, which now I will say the movie series of this is better than the G.I. Joe series,
Really?
is the Transformer series.
Oh.
I do like some of the Transformer movies compared to, like the G.I. Joe ones, I don't even care if they exist anymore. They just screwed them up too bad. The Transformer movies were okay. I
Yeah.
think 1 and 3 probably the better ones for me.
I remember being very disappointed by the second Transformers. 'Cause
And-
the first one was so unique.
And I tell you, the thing about the second one that really didn't set well with me is when you look at everything that's taken place now, even up to this last one, which they left it wide open for another one, even up to this one.
Was it like the last night or something like that?
Yeah,
Knights
And
of the
it-
Round Table or something like
yeah.
It was the last night, and then it was the last movie. I think that's hilarious that you even call it that.
But it's not the last movie.
Exactly,
that. They could still keep going, but
Oh, they're going to.
because they left the door. They didn't.
They
conclude
straight up
anything.
said it at the end of the movie.
oh,
This lady's walking through the desert at the end of the movie, and this guy, he sees this. There's this big, tusk sticking out of the earth. Looks like a big transformer tusk. This lady looks at the dude and says, she's got like this Arabian robe on, and she's like, it's basically the villain from the last night.
Really?
She's she's disguising herself in human form.
Oh yeah.
But
sweet.
she says, she's like, that's Unicron. I can show you
Oh.
how to harness his power or something like this. And I'm like, you're supposed to end this.
Yeah. This is the last night.
See, But like, does that mean like I forget which movie it was. I think Before the Knights. They've mentioned that the Transformer race, they've been on Earth before, right?
Yeah, that's where two. Okay, in one, you remember how they found Sam Witwicky's great grandfather or whatever found Megatron buried
Yeah.
in the ice.
Oh yeah.
To me, that was great. That's a great way to start the series.
But then they also mentioned when they were having their war on their planet on, I think, the third or fourth movie, they tried to flee and they crashed on the moon.
Right.
Okay.
That's the
second instance of them being
But
here.
then 2, if you look at, you remember 2, called Revenge of the Fallen?
Yeah, that's when Optimus almost dies, right?
Who he does, but obviously comes back.
They
But,
retcon it.
but see, the Fallen, the leader that Megatron goes to get, I'm like, I have no idea who this guy is. And I've watched like all the cartoons, I'm like, who's this guy? And he ends up getting, whacked by Optimus Prime. Megatron runs away again. And then 3 comes out. I think 3 was better. It was cool. It had Soundwave, Shockwave in it. Those.
Oh yeah, those are guys that are really good.
Yeah, I mean, it had all the. And then 4 was the Extinction when they went and got the Dinobots.
I didn't see that one.
Which was cool that they got the Dinobots because that was a big part of the series.
That's when they finally scrapped Shia and went for Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't want to do another one, I don't think.
But then.
Which sucks because I grew up with Shia, so I was like, when I saw Mark, I was like, who's this dude? Go back to being with Sam. What? Why you look at me like that? Go on.
That was the one that they ended up in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I didn't.
And they got all the.
Yeah, they were like, we have Transformium for our for a company.
Which you gotta love the clever name. It's like, oh, what's it do? I can't imagine what Transformium does.
Don't worry, this won't come back to haunt us.
But then
the next day, they're all murdered in the company.
Yeah, but then that one, and then the last night, just where are we right now? And it's like they keep discovering more and more that the Transformers have been here forever. They've been here forever.
Yeah, but
they've still been here forever.
Yeah.
But one thing you want to ask too is like, why do they treat Earth as so important?
In the first one, Earth wasn't that important. It was just the fact that Megatron was there and the cube was there.
Yeah,
and
the Allspark.
The Allspark. That's
wasn't it like abandoned there or something or left?
No, it crashed there, didn't it?
It crashed. I can't remember if they sent it to get away from.
They were trying to keep it away from him. Yeah. Now, see, here's the thing: if you watched the entire series with the second one intact, and then watched it again without the second one intact, you would notice the second movie has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
Dude, it has nothing.
It didn't add anything.
You know how like a TV series will have a filler episode?
Well, kind of like with Star Wars, where they say you can take out some episodes and
you'll
be fine.
Okay. You know, like there's filler episodes, like nothing happened that matters.
It's just
exactly how Second Transformers was.
It's just to like put you on hold till the like actual story comes back.
If you watched 1, 3, 4, and 5.
I think the major arc throughout the second one was just the fact that Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox were going through some of a breakup and they had to make up by the end of the movie. That was about the only thing that's significant that happened.
And then the outcry, the horrible outcry and uproar of people that when Megan Fox wasn't in the third one.
Really, I didn't hear.
God, people were pissed.
Well, she didn't want to be in it anymore, right?
It doesn't matter. You're watching Transformers for the wrong reason. If you care about which hot chicks in the movie.
Yeah, they were like, all right, we got to give Sam another hot girlfriend. So he gets a medal from the president, and he meets one of like the secretaries there.
Listen, but listen, Christian.
And then
what's the first thing about Transformers that would catch your eye that you'd want to see?
Transformers.
Exactly.
Maybe
the first movie.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's like,
what got me hooked on the movies was the first one where they had the desert fight scene, and I was just like, dude, the explosions and the fighting was just sick.
The scorpion thing, is so cool, dude. That thing is scary.
I know people like to bash on Michael Bay with his over excessive explosions, but sometimes
he does it so well, though.
He just like knows how to do explosions.
Well, I think what I like too is
in action in general.
He when he incorporated what our military can actually do with the C-130 gunship and the A-10s that are flying by. I like the fact that they incorporate that into like this is how we would deal with something like this.
It's like it makes it seem like we can actually put up some fight.
We would still need Optimus Prime in the end, but
it's not gonna be pretty. There might be nothing left there. After the fight.
I think the only thing that you really run into with a movie like that, and this is hard to do, is during those fight scenes, there's like these long segments of like Sam and what's her name are running from the Decepticons.
The girls' names are always forgettable.
Yeah.
But then it's like all of a sudden Bumblebee and Prime show up. I'm like, hey, where y'all been? This has been going on for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Where'd you go, Prime? You taking a nap somewhere? I mean,
Yeah.
what happened?
I always like too how like they made Bumblebee be out to be like really close to Sam, and then he leaves, and Sam's like, "Where'd you go?" And then he comes back at just the right moment, and Sam's like, "Dude, where you been?" And it's like that's exactly how I feel too. I'm like, "Where did you go? What did you do?"
Well, he was doing his Black Ops.
Yeah, he was doing his Black Ops
Transformer stuff.
Yeah, because Optimus would be like sending him out to do missions.
Now, I did take my son to see Bumblebee when it came out.
Was that good? It looked kind of good.
It was its own standalone thing, right?
It was, but it was definitely a prequel to everything. The only problem I have is it shows at the end of the movie. Do you care if I?
No.
No.
Okay, he's talking to Prime.
Yeah.
Like Prime's on Earth.
Oh, really?
But if you notice in Transformers 1,
He hasn't been there before.
Prime ain't been there yet. So it's like, when was this? Because this is when he was still a Volkswagen. This was before
the mission.
Yeah. So like, did Prime leave? Did he go back to Cybertron and then?
I think they can leave, right?
No.
Any moment they want.
No. They never made that clear until like.
Wait, how did they get there? They seemed like just fly over somehow,
I think
transform into some ship, and then.
Well, I think they were
off.
like sent either maybe like through transport pods, or they were left behind to look for the Allspark, like you said.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I'm having a hard time connecting is where in the timeline did Bumblebee fit in? Because
it might be like a small reboot. Maybe they're gonna try to do everything again. Because I know one thing I didn't like about some of the trailers is well, I never watched cartoons. The designs of like Optimus Prime and everything looked a lot more like the cartoons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought.
Which they had to, because if they would have made him look like something that he never was, I think that would have absolutely destroyed the chances of movies having any success.
Yeah.
Like, oh good, the character we've all known and grown to love for 20 years is now completely different. Is it time to wrap up?
I think that's a good point.
Right, yeah.
This was a much more relaxed episode, at least.
Yeah.
Not as much screaming.
We were
now
kind of
that
all
Tater's
over the
gone.
place, but I think it worked out pretty well. Ended on
good.
movie topics.
Yeah. This is just like Ben. He's always wanted to talk about a lot of movies, though.
I mean, I can talk about a lot of movies.
Dude.
I mean, I have a lot of I'm a little older than y'all, so I got some stuff from the childhood that's great to tell y'all about. And
because a lot of stuff in your generation they're making now, like new versions of.
it's because it all sucked, because we had no special effects.
Yeah.
I like how he calls it your generation.
Well, I'm not saying he's that much older. I'm just saying.
I mean, he is compared to us.
Shut up, Christian.
I mean, we
graduated right before the 90s, or you graduated in the 90s, right?
Graduated in 2000, Colton.
Oh, you did? Okay, well, okay, my bad.
Thank you.
I was 10 years
I'm
old.
only 37, Colton.
I wasn't even alive.
Colton's like, it was like, what, right before the 90s you graduated?
Well,
you graduated in 97,
so
right?
Are you considered a millennial?
No.
Technically, yes.
Yeah, like it would have been at the start of
No,
that generation.
it depends on when you were born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a millennial.
But
Technically, I'm considered a millennial.
Yeah, because it's through the 80s.
I'm at the very...
I thought it was like you had to be born between 90 and like 98.
No, it starts in like, I think it at least starts in 84, 85. So he's right there.
I'm technically a millennial, which I actually found this out the other day. I'm technically a millennial, and I'm not happy about it.
You're the oldest millennial ever.
In fact, I don't even claim it. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm better than that.
Trash.
I'm not a millennial.
So we'll wrap up on the fact that Ben's now labeled a millennial.
Hey, and as always, vegetarians can suck it.
We'll always end with that.
That doesn't change for me.
Doesn't change for me either. Hope you guys have a wonderful week.
All right.
See you next time.
I'm gonna go to bed now.